Click record. Boom. Hey, we're back.
So I had another idea.
Okay.
Hiring and how to find talent.
Wow. Hiring, find talent. Oh, let's see.
Because you mentioned quite a few things in the last one that prompted that, like Upwork, Guru. Um,
Actually, pretty good. I like that because the leadership was good, but I think I like that one better. So we can throw the leadership out on our later leading contractors employees. I do like the hiring finding talent because I think that's something I don't remember why. I just was thinking about that the other day in some places that's like a may have been discussions with Natalie or something like that. I can't remember where that came from. Oh, it was because I was talking about like the teams that I've built and some of the things to look for. So that'd probably be pretty cool. So we're gonna give that a shot. And if it sucks, it'll be the first time because we have never had a bad in 850 episodes, whatever it's been, never been a single bad episode as far as we know. Three, two, one. Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing this incredible podcast known as Building Better Developers, also Developreneur. If you don't think it's incredible, you haven't listened to enough episodes yet. I am Rob Broadhead, one of the founders of Building Better Developers, Developreneur, also a founder of RB Consulting, where we help you leverage technology and make it do what it needs to do. You pay all this money, you spend all this time. You have technology sprawl and all of the pain involved with the thing that should just work. Well, we help you find the things that help your company just work. We will, through integration, simplification, automation, even innovation, we help you. Basically, we sit down with you, we understand what makes you you, what makes your company your company. And then we take our knowledge and experience with technology and all the stuff that's out there, and we craft a specific recipe for you for success for today to make sure that you can make the best use of your dollars and your technology investment, and also in the future, so that we make sure you've got a roadmap for how do you grow and grow the needed technology to continue your company moving forward. Good things, bad things. Let's see, what would be a good thing and a bad thing? Because I'm just making this up as I'm going right now. I should have thought about this more before I got into this. However, uh, a good thing is I have been looking forward to a really good masquerade ball kind of party for several years. We did one many years ago. We got some stuff. We had a couple of nice like masks and some other stuff, and we haven't been able to do it since. And even that one was not really what we wanted. So the good thing is that I have one coming up. Is that we're actually going to be able to go to one. And we've like upped our game a little bit. The bad thing is I don't have enough warning, and I haven't really been thinking about it enough that I'm not going to be able to up my game enough. So there's that. But the other good thing is I'll probably have a story afterwards of this in some way, form, or fashion. I need an Instagram or one of those kinds of things just so I can have pictures of this stuff. But hey, if you shoot me an email, I will send you one. That being said, somebody else that will shoot you that he shoots you pictures if you send him an email as well. I'm not going to say it's pictures of him, maybe of his house, maybe of like the neighbors, who knows, is Michael, and he's going to go introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Meloche. I'm one of the co-founders of Developreneur, Building Better Developers. I'm also the founder of Envision QA, where we help businesses build software that meets their needs. 9 out of 10 times, businesses have software that is piecemeal. They have 5 or 6 different applications to help them do their work. We come in and we actually, from a test-driven development perspective, as the user, we walk through your processes, analyze what it is that you're doing, what you really need, and we can help you build this one software tool that does it all. Basically, we are the one that, or what's the never mind. I've lost my head about the Tolkien. I was thinking the Hobbit. Anyway, one ring to rule them all. We can write you one piece of software to essentially do all the work for you or help all your processes. Good and bad. Bad. I really need to rethink how I do my intros. Good. Things are coming along with the project I'm working on, and I am starting to get into a routine. I'm off caffeine, or just about off caffeine, and I'm getting into a better normal sleep schedule sort of habit. I'm no longer doing my days where I start somewhere around 5, 6 in the morning and I'm still up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's getting better. So that's my
Well,
good.
good. That in itself is a good thing. That is like I did that many years ago and started shifting that off, and it was very useful and very that's like one of the healthy sides of being a better developer. Today, this episode, we're going to talk about hiring and finding talent. We talked last episode a little bit about just expanding your company through employees and contractors. This episode, I told you last episode, I lied because I thought we were going to talk about the leadership. That'll be in a future episode. I'm not going to tell you it's the next episode because I don't want to be a liar again. Smack my hand for doing that. There we go. It's right close enough to the microphone that it'll get picked up. Um, I want to talk about, we want to go through this time is a little bit more about the whole idea of how do you hire or find somebody that is going to do the work? It's like you don't just like go out, walk out your front door and go, "Hey, I need a JavaScript developer," and suddenly somebody's like, "Cool!" Like 10 people show up and they're like, "We'll do it." That's not how it works. You've got to go, just like when you're searching for a job or searching for a client, you also have to search for employees. And you need to think of some things that there need to be some things that are part of that decision process that are going to help you and them be successful. And of course, the ultimate goal is that they need to be successful. You're successful in hiring somebody that's successful doing the job you need them to do. I know that seems very redundant, but it also blows some people's minds because they don't really think about it that way. It's just like, I need to find somebody that's a good match of this. But also, the challenge here is like, what makes them a good match for that? Now, I have hired employees, I've hired contractors, I have been, a manager that's been part of interviewing, I've recommended stuff, I've done a lot of these different things. I've done it professionally, but I've also built teams of varying sorts. And it's like there's all sorts of different ways that we've gone through this. And a couple things that I've learned over the years that I hope will help you if you haven't already figured this out is probably one, the best people for the job are the ones that actually like doing the job. It's just like yourself. The stuff you do the best is the stuff that you enjoy. That is almost always going to be the stuff that you are going, I mean, maybe not initially, but because you enjoy it, you're going to spend more time, you're going to be more invested in it, you're going to do the things to get better. Just like this. Building better developers is about you're here, you're listening to this because you want to be a better developer. You enjoy doing that. You have a reason to do that. You're not just doing it to punch a clock or something like that. So the first thing is like make sure you're bringing people in that enjoy doing what they're going to do. Now, with that, that means that you have to also allow them to do it their way. If you're going to bring somebody in and you're going to dictate to them that they've got to do it this way and they've got all this stuff, then that burden is going to wear them out and they're going to lose their joy and they're probably going to leave or they're going to suck. I mean, maybe not that bad. And I'm sorry if that seems harsh, but they're not going to do as good a job as they could because they're not happy it's because you put them in a situation, you changed the square peg, the square thing that they were getting into, you turn it into a round hole, and now suddenly they're not happy. And this is something that this is like, you want a good example of this, you go back to the Miracle on Ice team and that whole story now 45 years ago, where a coach, for those of you who don't know, this coach took a hockey team and he took a bunch of guys that were not necessarily the best, but they were the best team. They worked together. And he found people based on like, this is what you like doing this thing. You bring this piece to this puzzle piece to what we need. It's literally like think about filling out a puzzle. Like I need a puzzle piece that fits this exact thing. That's what you're looking for. Now, how do you find these people? You do not do it through like, language tests. Like don't give them a test. It's like, okay, I need you to understand how to do this syntax. There are places where that is valuable, where you can get a baseline of their skills, particularly in like, people that are like newer, more junior and mid-level developers, or with, if you want to go to more senior developer stuff, don't ask them, syntax questions. Ask them things like, how do you solve this problem? Or like put them in a situation that is what you're going to put them in effectively when you hire them, assuming you hire them, and say, okay, you sit down and this is what you face. How do you react? Because what you're going to get out of that is you're not going to get like their technical knowledge necessarily, although you may get some pieces of that. What you're really going to get is like, how do they handle it? Do they jump right in? Are they hesitant? Do they find ways to avoid doing the work you need them to do? Do they dive right in, and do they like zero in on the work that you want them to do is exactly the stuff that they focus on, and that's what they talk about. The bonus is if you've got the right person, they'll talk for you. You don't have to ask them another question. I have a person that I hired years ago, and this is like this is such an iconic moment. Is that I was talking to his roommate at a party. I'm talking to his roommate, and it comes up like, "What do you do?" And I say, "Hey, I do software development. I've got a little consulting company. I didn't have this great elevator speech that I have right now or anything." And it was hilarious because the roommate was looking at me and immediately almost turned to go talk to somebody else, while this guy that I ended up hiring rotated from the conversation he was in and started talking to me. And he's like, "Hey, I need to talk to you about some stuff." And we had a conversation that was very one-sided because I told him about two or three things about what we did. And he just went on. He was like, "Oh, that's so great. This is cool. I've done this project, blah, blah, blah." And I knew then this is somebody that is going to be a fit as soon as I can find I need to find a project and bring him in. Those are the kinds of things you want to do. Now, I think I've really set a loaded table. So I'm going to allow you to dive into this and figure out where you want to pick and choose your snacks and your main courses.
So I think I'm going to go the IT for recruiters route on this one. So I'm going to set the table from a hiring perspective, what not to do and what you should be doing. So I mentioned IT for recruiters, and Rob knows this because years ago we had this great idea to try and bridge the gap between software development managers who need talent and HR and recruiters. The problem we constantly run into, and this is where I'm going today, is 9 out of 10 times when you, as a manager, if you're not the owner, if you're a manager or you have a larger company with an HR, where you're trying to find talent, you're going to type up some description and hand it off to HR, and they're going to go post it to all the job boards and all the different locations. The problem is the template that they give, or the essentially the synopsis for the job they have, they will take it, they will massage it for these platforms, and what you want is not necessarily what translates to the job posting. So the talent you get, or what the recruiters send you, is wasting your time because you're not really talking to the people, like Rob said, that really want to do the job, that really are enthusiastic about it. So there is a very specific gap there that you have to be very careful of when you do go out and start using these sites like LinkedIn, Fiverr, Freelance Guru, whatever they're called these days. You have to make sure that you understand what it is that you want from your employee, and you make sure that you really put that in the job posting. If you want someone that is skilled, that has 8 years of experience, do you necessarily need to have a college degree? If they can prove that they can do the job in an interview, you don't need the degree. Now, if you need someone with more like business or technical or some type of college level knowledge, sure, throw that on there. But don't put roadblocks in place just to quote unquote limit the pool that comes into you. The problem we have is HR and a lot of these tools are essentially your gatekeepers. They are to help whittle out the flood of talent that is potentially coming in so you get the talent that you want. The problem is if you put too many barriers in place, you're not going to find the right talent. You're going to get the people that can figure out how to game the system, and maybe 1 in 10 is someone you might want to have an interview with.
I'm going to call timeout because I want to add to that. I want you to continue, but I just want to add that when we did this before AI was not what it is today, that has only made that problem bigger because people will use AI to basically use that to like block people and try to get all these keywords. And then of course on the other side are people trying to get in. So they're using AI to try to build the right proposal or response to get through it. So this is not something that has gotten lesser. This has actually become a bigger issue in recent years. And now I'll toss it back to you.
Well, and on top of that, which is where I was wrapping up with, is one of the biggest problems, especially with online sites like LinkedIn is not as much of a problem these days because they actually do like user authentication to make sure you're not a bot. But very recently, it came out that like Freelance Guru and some of the other contracting sites that are out there, 60 to 80% of the job postings were fake. They weren't even real job postings. This is a huge problem for companies that really want to get talent. How do you stand out from these fake businesses or these fake postings? So, things to consider. Now, post COVID, it's a little bit different world, but you know, what are they? Not resume, but like job. Oh, I'm losing the thought. Like job, where a lot of businesses come in and promote their
Oh,
business.
job fairs.
Thank you, job fair. It's been a while since I've been to these, but those are very good. Other things to consider, which is not really a place that I would typically consider finding talent, but I've actually had multiple job interviews from just going to like Java 1, going to like software development conferences, any type of software conference or business conference in your focus area is a very good place, not just to find talent, but also to find customers. So as you're talking to people, if you see someone within a very similar concept, like Rob said at this party, it's like, let me get your business card. Let me contact you. Let me talk to you. Let's see if we can maybe build a relationship. Maybe I can hire you. You never know. One of the biggest things that's interesting, I was sitting at a restaurant back in my old hometown of Nolensville, and I was just sitting there having my lunch, and a guy sat down next to me, and we started talking. He was a finance guru. I'm a software guru. And he's like, well, how do you do that? Like, he wanted to know how software could help him do his business better. And I wanted to know how the hell he did all this, you know, the business or the accounting, not the accounting, but like the investment stuff in that for retirement. And at the end of the day, I hired him to do my basically my portfolio, and we still consult from time to time about software and other things. You never know. Don't shut the door on potential talent. That is the last thing I will kind of say on this topic, and I'll throw it back to you.
I think that's one of the keys is that you need to be open, but I think it comes back to going back to some of the earlier points Michael made is it's really you need to know what matters. What is it that you actually need? Don't tell me you need somebody that has a degree. Don't tell me that you need somebody that's been 5 years of experience, especially if it's 5 years experience in a technology that's only been out for a year. There's something more that you need. There's something different. It's not, those are a la carte menu items that really don't contribute to an actual like, meal. It's like you're really not, you're chasing the wrong direction if you're going to do that. What you need to think about is like, what do I need? What is the problem I need this person to solve? Or what are the problems that I need this person to solve? And then what sort of skills are going to help them do it? Now, a lot of times it does. This goes back to having an interview process, a proposal writing, if you're going off to one of these sites, a proposal writing process or an RFP process that really gets into this is what I need solved. And when you do that, then you're going to be better, more likely to get something useful. And then, of course, what you want to do is, yeah, you may get 500 responses, but you should be able to, if you've got, a good little list of these are the things that I know are going to be part of that, that population, you can start cutting that out really quick. And it may take a while, but the investment's worthwhile because then you're better off taking a little more time and get that good person than you are to just throw them out because you weren't able to spend the time to really properly cull the herd, as it were. Looks like you had a thought.
Yeah, quick thought before the challenge. Um, when you do find the talent and you bring them in for an interview, please take a moment to reset your mindset to talk to the interviewee. 9 out of 10 times, I have almost every company I've worked for, it is a mad dash. Oh, we got someone coming in. Let's throw people in. If you want to really find the right person to fit your company, to fit this role, spend the right amount of time with them to understand who they are, what they can do, and will they fit your position.
You do not want to scare a good, the best person off because your company is a train wreck from the start. And that has happened more often than I would like to say to some. Actually, I have no problem saying about that. Some of the places that I'm like, nope, never going to work there. Don't want anything to do with you guys. It's like, it is, you guys are a dumpster fire from 1,000 yards away. So I don't want to touch that. Challenge of the week. What is it? Because we talked last time about like, pulling something out and saying, all right, what if I was going to outsource this? So I'm going to sort of follow that up this week and say, well, let's say you've got something to outsource, and maybe it's the project you're doing right now. So maybe it's a little bit like interviewing for your own, position or something like that. But it's like do a list. Let's keep it small, like say 3 to 5 items. What are 3 to 5 key traits that will make somebody successful doing the job you're doing or the job that you choose this challenge for? And it's not like literally think 3 to 5 traits. And I think then the way to do this is actually walk through this process a couple times with those. So let's say you lay out 5 traits and then go back and review those and like walk back through them and go, what if they don't have that trait? Is that a problem or is it not? And then that is what you need to work from, is basically to say, what really is going to make somebody successful in doing this? Because a lot of times you're going to say, well, they need to do this, they need to do that, they need that. Like a favorite one of mine is, well, they need to, it's a Java program, so they need to know how to code Java. Okay, what if they're a C# programmer, but they understand your business better than any Java person does? Sometimes it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe it's easier for them to learn, that C# person to learn Java than it is for that Java person to learn my business. Things like that. And I can't answer that for you. There's not like, you can't go get a book and it's just like, boom, this is what you do. If you do, you've done it wrong, because there's books out there that will say, this is how you hire this certain person. There's sites that will say, this is how you do it. But if it doesn't include you getting to like know that person and you knowing what that position is that you're filling, then you're going to miss out. There's too much opportunity for a disconnect. That may seem to be a little bit much, but I think it is something that if you don't do it this week, if you ever get to a point where you're hiring somebody, where you're bringing somebody on, whether it's like joining your team or, going to be an employee or whatever, that will be a very useful exercise for you to go through. So give it a shot and see how it goes. Hopefully some of that'll stick. So when you come actually to have to do it, you'll be able to remember that and go, oh yeah, this is a good way for me to get this, to solve this particular problem. For example, one of the things we do all the time, and because it is important, it is critical, is that you need to send us an email to info@developreneur.com. I can list all of the traits that will make us happy. That is the number one, is that we need to get feedback from you. And we want to hear, what are your thoughts? Where do you want to go with this whole thing? Because that's where we're going. We're going to go where we want to go until you say otherwise. And then we're going to work with you, and we're going to make sure that we're presenting the kind of stuff that helps you. Love the feedback. Love to hear what you like, what you don't like. If you have questions, if we could take it further with you, that's awesome, because we're here to help you help yourself and become a better developer. You can also check us out on X at Developreneur. We have a Facebook page, the Developreneur Facebook page. You can subscribe to us if you haven't already on YouTube. The Developreneur channel there, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there, hopefully. And if you find something that's not, let us know, and we'll make sure that we get put out there as well. You can leave us comments on any of those forums. You can also go to the developreneur.com site and leave us all kinds of stuff there, and check out our rapidly approaching decade worth of content, thousands of articles and postings, almost 1,000. We're getting there, like almost 1,000 episodes of the podcast. You can go find old stuff of that as well. That being said, really appreciate the time that you've given and the investment that you have in yourself in talking to us or listening to us every couple of days, or how often you do it. As always, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.
Next time.
Look at that. Trying to sneak one in. Bonus material.
I'll let you start.
Let's see. Bonus material hiring, finding talent. Um, I think that the way that has been most successful is the filling a hole kind of approach. Is it looking at something and saying, okay, not only is this person going to do some tasks, solve a problem, is like, take some of this work on, but also finding a way that they need to mesh with you and mesh with your team if you already have a team, or mesh with the existing team. This works whether it's employees, where it's like finding them. It's like, even as a developer, there's going to be things like maybe you have to find, I don't know, five, let's say you have to hire 5 developers and they're all doing a Java project. Well, if you find one that likes like the back end more, like a database person, another one is really more like loves doing front end stuff, and another one loves doing just core stuff, and another one's doing, I don't know, if you're doing like Spring, then they love doing Spring, something like that. Find people that like, if they complement each other, then you're going to build a better team. And it's the same thing if you have an existing team. Look at maybe where are there some gaps, where there's some things that like you don't have anybody that loves to do that. That may be somebody that like that's part of it, is for them to be able to say, bring somebody that loves doing that kind of work. Several times early on, now times have changed, but early on, one of the things that we always found useful was find somebody that loves building software, because that was like DevOps didn't exist. And there are a lot of people that hated the DevOps world and hated doing that kind of stuff. But some people are good at it and like doing it. So you wanted to bring in people that could fill that gap. Or, like they didn't know how to use a database. Bring in somebody that knows how to use database. Those things are what are going to like really help your team not just solve that problem, but bring the level of everything up, because now you're filling, not just filling a hole, but you're making you're making it better than the sum of the parts.
So the last thing I'll add to that is, if you are a larger company and you have employees already, don't neglect your existing employees to move them up into positions that you need. Or potentially you may have someone already working for you that can really meet the demand of what one of the problems you're trying to solve today. So not only outsource, but also insource and look for talent internally before you go outside of the company.
Yeah, I think grow your own is always going to be, it's, I know some organizations, they don't like to, they like to grow outside because they're like, oh, we're not really happy with our people. Well, that's your problem. You should have done better with your people. But also it's like if you go outside, especially if you don't have an opportunity for your people to grow, then they're going to end up leaving, because they're going to say, look, every time I turn around, somebody gets put over me. Somebody gets put over me. Gets put over me. And I've talked to many people over the years where that was the position they had. As they came in, there was a promise, or like an alluding to them being able to grow. And then there was, every time an opportunity came, they weren't able to grow and they ended up leaving. And that's as they should, because if you essentially promise or suggest that that's going to happen, then you just shut it down over and over again. At some point, they're going to be like, okay, you're a filthy liar. I don't want anything to do. You filthy liar. And you filthy animal, I guess is what it is. Bad quote, but still, that's the key, is that you want to like treat your people with respect, and you should be building them up. So if you are not looking internally to the people that already know your culture, that are already there, that you're not looking to them and growing them, and you're saying, well, I don't trust them in that position, then you screwed up. You didn't do development properly of your people. Your people development is part of it. I know this gets bigger than, this is bigger than some of you people are when you're dealing with like, hey, I have one employee. They don't have any, I'm not hiring somebody over them or anything like that. And sometimes you're going to have to. If you're starting off, it's like you're filling gaps. So you're going to have like maybe a junior developer. Now you can hire a senior developer. Now you can hire like a marketing person or a project manager. But as you grow, that's what you should be looking for. Is you should be looking for almost backfilling people as opposed to filling that new position. Hopefully you're growing these people, your current staff, into these positions that you need. And then as they're able to grow, then you hire in somebody behind them that now fills that position that they no longer are able to fill.
Or you potentially find that the person you hired is actually a better fit for something else within your organization, and you need to basically backfill, like Rob said, backfill that position.
I think that's where we're going to stop this one because it's like we've been going for a while. So as always, I want to thank you guys for your time. Leave us comments wherever you can leave comments. And we will be back. We are, I don't know, we're maybe a third, something like that. We're just getting started on this season. So we've got plenty to go from here. And we will talk to you next time around. So take care. Have yourself a good one. And we will talk to you next time.